This, for me, isn't just about creating a dish, it's about creating a feeling. I want to put a smile on the judges' faces. This is green tea cured salmon with compressed apple and green strawberries. And then there's a frozen yogurt foam. My sense was smell. So this is supposed to be getting on top of a mountain first thing in the morning.
It's like sandalwood and pine and lemon and zesty.
It's the forest. The whole idea was just my time in the snow, skiing and snowboarding all day, and then sitting down for dinner around a fire.
That's great.
So this is all about the sound of a fire crackling. And then as you get through a little bit of the dish, lift this, and it should bring you back to sitting next to a fire. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Let's tuck in.
You do such clever stuff.
It's only clever if it tastes good.
I think what Jamie's done, and I'm very proud of him, I think he's put a perfect theatrical piece together in the MasterChef kitchen. You've got the smell of the smoke, you've got the smell of the pine and the lemon, and you've got a very simple, clean dish.
What I love about the dish is the subtle flavour of yogurt, but the curing really let it down. For me, that curing is just dull.
All his theatre took me there, but the dish, once I put it in my mouth, didn't.
What he's failed to do is he's failed to connect the smoke, the pine and the citrus with that dish.
Yeah.
You get it in the smell, but you don't get it in the taste.
The dish is flat, which is a shame because I don't know his story. I was there with him. I was actually quite jealous because I thought that's a great memory to have. And he really thought about it with all of this, but this has to do the talking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Amy, you've had 2 wins in a row. Momentum, history shows, is what gets people over the line, takes them to being a master chef. Have you maintained the momentum with this dish?
I'm feeling a bit nervous now after I've seen what everyone else has done. I think Jamie's act was a hard one to follow, so hopefully I've done enough.
What's the dish and how have you incorporated sound?
Now we're going to start with a track of about 30 seconds, which will just include sounds of the ocean, which will then move on to sounds of the ocean with a crackling fire. I grew up in a seaside town. We spent weekends eating oysters off the rocks, fishing. We used to cook mussels on the beach with a fire going. So you'll start off with the oyster with just the sounds of the ocean, which will give you the impression of something fresh, light, but summery. And then that will move into the sounds of the ocean along with the crackling fireside onto your second course of the seafood stew.
Amy, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. What do you reckon?
I like it. The idea of warming yourself by the fire with a big mug of soup and some damper. I mean, it resonates in lots of ways. I hope there's a bit of smokiness in her seafood stew, because that would really, really link the whole thing together.
Right, shall we taste and listen?
Oyster first, yeah?
It's good.
Gee, that first element, the oyster, worked so brilliantly with the waves.
She's tied that in really nicely.
I think it's very Amy. I think it's very rustic.
The simplicity of putting up a beautifully shucked oyster with a mignonette dressing. But I would have liked the seafood a little bit more carefully prepared, because I just feel it's a bit mucky.
Also, the fish is overcooked. And your idea about the smoke, you know, a bit of smoked paprika in here or something might have just done the trick to tie it in a bit.
And I think you're right, the first phase, you know, oyster, sound of seagulls and sea, it's perfect. And then she loses me on this, because even though it's seafood, it's not necessarily a dish I'd expect to eat on the beach. Well, I suppose we've got to just ask ourselves, does that take me to the seaside?
This does.
This doesn't.
This doesn't.
Good luck, sweetie.
Good luck, Lozzle Dog.
Today I think you in the sense of sight. I hope that I've made sight really shine on my plate.
I reckon this week you've been a little bit different. Has having Hester around thrown you slightly? Has it sort of, I don't know, has it made you nervous?
I think a bit of everything. Like, I'm definitely nervous. Like, I want to impress Heston a lot. And I guess I've tried to be a little bit different, a bit more modern in my cooking, and I just feel I have to step it up a little bit more.
What is the dish?
Cured salmon with a beetroot jelly. Then you've got coriander oil, pickled radish, fresh radish, and a lime creme fraiche. I was really confused about the whole visual side of it, and I just thought, just make it look pretty in the plate, but I wasn't going to win the challenge on that. So just kind of listen to Heston and how he plates up. It looks like a beetroot planted in soil, but it's a cucumber, ginger, and miso jelly. Hope you like it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. What do you reckon, George?
I think it's gorgeous.
You know what I love? I really, really love. When it came down, I had that moment when I looked at just the texture, and it looked like a beetroot where someone's just peeled it off.
Yeah.
That's spectacular. Great little visual joke. I look at this dish and I think Northern European, a certain flavour profile.
Yeah.
And the idea it's got these Japanese-style flavours is very clever. George, would you like to start?
Let's eat our beetroot.
If you close your eyes and think, you know, cucumber and miso, and if somebody told you there was a bit of beetroot juice in there, you would not disagree with them, would you? And that's the impact of the colour.
Because the little spheres are slightly imperfect, where she's maybe had a little bit of trouble getting them out, you know, where they've gripped. Actually reinforces the fact that it's a beetroot.
Beetroot, yeah.
Putting that aside, wow, the combination of flavour is like yum.
The salmon's cured really well.
Jamie and Laura had exactly the same amount of time to cure, but Jamie's was weak in flavour and Laura's is spot on.
There's a real cleanness in this dish, yet it's layered.
Yeah.
There's an earthiness, there's a slight sweetness, you've got the crunch and the radish, a soft pepper carrots, a light pickle, and there is that sort of like Japanese undertone to it.
I'm completely terrified of taking this dish up to the judges. It really means a lot to me. It's the fear of me not being able to do that memory justice. And with touch as my sense, I'm pretty nervous about it.
How you going?
I'm okay.
What's the dish?
Lemon verbena panna cotta with an apple and lemon jelly and a mascarpone ice cream.
We have to talk about it a little bit, the fact that you had a bit of a meltdown halfway through. It's okay, it's all right. Obviously, something touched a nerve. Sometimes you gotta go through this to come up with something truly brilliant.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever experienced feeling really connected like that to food. The more that I thought about it, the more I kept thinking of my grandma. She passed away 2 years ago today, so I knew I wanted to do something related to her, and then I just couldn't stop thinking about it and how much I wish she was here to see me. How happy she would be to see me doing this.
Because it connects you to, you know, like George refers to, it connects you to the past, and I think it amplifies the memory.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Do you want to serve it to us?
I'm just serving it with some cold spoons to amplify that feeling of really crisp apples.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emelia.
Thanks.
I love this dish.
It's delicious.
And the jelly, she thought it wasn't set. It's actually, she's got a...
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really nice texture. Some of those little julienne of apple has taken me back to childhood.
Yeah.
And my mum's apple pie. There's something...
There's something apple crumbly about this as well.
Really bizarre.
You kind of get used to this kind of muted, jellied, lemony apple flavour. You get a really crisp bit of apple.
It's lots of things. It's apple pie, it's jelly and ice cream.
I think what's so clever about this dish is that there are all those different textures. There's slippery, there's creamy, there's kind of wobbly, there's slightly different wobbly with the panna cotta. So we're getting loads of texture in terms of what the dish does in the mouth.
It's light, it's well balanced, it's refreshing, but at the same time, it's proper comfort food. It's taking me back to my childhood. And I think that's about as powerful as you can get with a dish.